Today, let's dive into the narrative of self-acceptance and authenticity by exploring the complexity of our own self-perception. Let's just unravel the different layers that often lead us to create a false identity to survive, sacrificing our truest selves in the process. Welcome to Conscious Matters. I'm Melissa. On this channel, I talk about conscious living through empowerment and holistic wellness, especially mindfulness. Many of us have walked the path of seeking validation and acceptance in places that can never truly fulfill us. Looking for it in friendships, in romantic relationships, in success in studies, in success in work, in so many places that are external from us. I made an entire video about stopping to seek external validation. You can check it out. But essentially, in order to fulfill our sense of belonging, which is ingrained in human nature, because in the beginning of time, being part of a group meant our survival, meant that we will be strong enough as a group to fight off any threat. Also, being part of a group meant you would have enough food, water to survive. But in today's day and age, our survival is drastically different. Yet we still have that feeling of belonging, that necessity to belong within us. The problem is that very often we've chosen approval over authenticity, placing more value on being accepted by others than embracing our most authentic selves. This often stems from a fear of rejection, change, judgment, or just the idea of fearing being alone. But what if I told you that true fulfillment lies in embracing our uniqueness and our values rather than fitting into somebody else's mold? In our quest for approval, we become the architects of our own masks, pretty much controlling how others perceive us. And that process can be fully unconscious, but in order to feel accepted by the other person or the other group that we want to belong to, we perform, we please, we pretend, all in the hope of avoiding rejection. And there's such an interesting TEDx talk about how to handle our emotions by Mandy Saligari, and she summarizes that very powerfully in the context of wanting to belong, but we are ashamed of certain part of ourselves. We fear rejection or change or being alone if we show that part of ourselves, if we express it. And she says, if you get close to me, you're gonna see the whole of me. You're going to reject me, and that is gonna hurt. So in order to avoid the hurt, we prefer people pleasing or being a rebel, performing, being anyone or anything other than ourselves. All because we've told ourselves or we felt like parts of ourselves are unwelcome. Carl Jung, famous psychologist, teaches us about the shadow self. The parts of ourselves that we repress because we've been made to believe that they are unacceptable or quote unquote bad or weird or simply shameful. There's an interesting quote that summarizes that. Carl Jung says, as long as the person represses part of themselves, referred as their shadow, they'll never be able to reach their fullest potential. One will always remain incomplete, fractured, and partial, living a life of regret instead of a life that could have been. So essentially, as long as we repress these parts, we'll never reach our fullest potential because we're not living as who we were designed to be and live as. So we will end up having lots of regrets because we would not have followed our intuition and taken action towards that, fully embracing our whole self and unleashing our fullest potential. But there's hope, of course there's hope. By accepting and integrating these hidden aspects of ourselves, we can move closer to our authentic selves. We can finally be at ease being ourselves and finding people who actually resonate with these parts that we pushed down for the longest time. And that will help us to let go of all of the traits I'm not gonna say pretend, but like borrowed because they were seen as right. Like you're supposed to act like that in order to achieve that or to be accepted or to be respected. We are often defensive about people truly seeing us, seeing our vulnerability, our imperfections, our cracks. They're all part of human nature, but it's also in human nature to protect ourselves from potential harm. But as we journey towards authenticity, with time, with maturity, with growth, with life experiences, we begin to understand that vulnerability is our strength and not our weakness. I also believe that for many people, there is this huge fear of being seen, putting yourself out there, being judged and being rejected once again. But for some people, it's a little bit heightened than others. If you grew up in an environment where being quiet, being obedient, not making a fuss were deemed as good, acceptable, and expected out of you, expressing yourself, being seen, taking space became the suppressed part of yourself. And now that can be really hard for you to do that, to express yourself, to take space and to be seen. But as always, practice makes it perfect, or at least really improves it. So it's a matter of letting go of the conditioning, seeing yourself for who you truly are in full honesty, and giving yourself a chance to try, a chance to express what you were not given the permission to express before. Because as paradoxical as it sounds, running away from your shadow only makes it grow. But when we lean into it, when we accept it, when we work on our weaknesses, we begin to truly express ourselves as our full authentic selves. But that is a journey, of course, like so many things. It's a journey full of growing pains. Growing pains, just like when we're a child and we're growing up, so physical growth, but this time is internal growth, a transformation from within. That is, of course, long lasting when you really did put the work in. So that journey is not easy. It's a lot of truth bombs. It's a lot of looking at yourself in the mirror also and try to see what is your conditioning, what is really you, and what is detrimental and what is beneficial, not only for you, but the environment around you. I do believe that we all, at the basis, all the same, but we also all extremely different. And that's the beauty of humanity. So when we dive individually in our own authenticity, we make the world much more interesting and so much richer. But authenticity also means that you are not for everyone, and that's okay. That's okay. That's really hard when you were conditioned to be a people pleaser or to feed the mold and to always tame down the aspects of yourself that didn't please others or that didn't fit the expectations of others or what they deemed nice or good or cool or respectable. Authenticity is also to put your foot down, to stop self-abandoning yourself, to choose your truth over what is pushed on you that is fully misaligned with your values, with your beliefs, with how you carry yourself in your connections and relationships. Authenticity is also about betting on quality over quantity. Not everybody deserves your story because you deserve to be with people who fully resonate with you when they're seeing the full you. And being seen, truly being seen, genuinely being seen through the different facets that make us us, can really be scary, especially when we're not used to it, because as humans, yes, we have a sense of belonging, but we also have this strong feeling of needing to be safe. So obviously, when you're putting out your vulnerability, your weaknesses, your imperfections, and also all of the things that were not accepted before, so in your brain, in your subconscious mind, it is ingrained that this is bad. You shouldn't say that, you shouldn't act like that, you shouldn't believe that. So the safety becomes not only having to decondition yourself healthily and safely, but also connecting with others that will receive your whole self or presence the different facets of yourself in a safe space that they can create for you, and you doing the same for them. But as hard as it is always better to bet on authenticity, to choose authenticity over living a life full of regrets. A life that is, at the end of the day, not yours because you spend your time trying to have the approval of this person, that job, that romantic partner. So it all comes down to self-discovery, of knowing who you are, of self-respect, of self-esteem. Don't settle for a life that doesn't truly and fully resonate with your soul desires. Take that leap, embrace your true self, and become the person you've always been deep inside, and how you can elevate that version of who you are deep inside. I believe is the only path to true fulfillment. Happiness is something that we choose. But we cannot have happiness when we are fully misaligned in our connections, in our path, in our missions, in our passions. And it's never too late to start. So if you haven't already started, why not starting today? Let's go. So share in the comments which aspect of your personality has been deemed as unwelcome, unacceptable, or simply weird that you pushed down most of your life and that you now want to reclaim as your own. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, stay true, keep showing up for yourself, and let your soul lead the way.